Hello, my name is Samar. I also go by Sam or First Time Panner. Any of those you want to call me, you can. This will be my February 2026 addition to my 2 Looks 1 palette. And last year, I'm already stumbling over my words. I will link the introduction for this year's series in the description box and the playlist, which will only have the introduction. Anyway, let me start over. Basically, if you want to watch me explain this entire series, watch that. But basically, this is a continuation of just, the standard 2 Looks 1 palette video that everyone knows about. Last year, I did 1 palette a month, just choosing random palettes in my collection. And this year, someone asked me to keep the series going, so I said yes. But I thought if I'm going to keep doing this, especially with all the other palettes that I have in projects and my palette throwback series, I want a specific focus for this project, and I decided that I'm going to kind of, I always feel weird saying have an excuse or give myself the opportunity to use my most favorite palettes in my collection that are not already in projects for this series. So I've rounded up all of my either favorite brands, favorite formulas, both, etc. And I'll be doing 2 looks with the palette. Last year I tried not to repeat brands, but this year I think I have 3 or 4 different brands that I'll just be showcasing over and over again. This month is the Pat McGrath Mothership 1 Subliminal. Yeah, I still have it in this because I just love the outer packaging that she has for these motherships. I mean, I only have 1 mothership anyway, but I just think it's so pretty. But this is what it looks like. Of course, there are all my fingerprints, the little card that has all the shade names. I've still kept it because why not? And then this is what the palette looks like. It is so pretty. I have been wanting this for a while, on and off for years and years. And then finally I got it while it was 50% off, literally the last, but I always say this, somehow I get so lucky where unintentionally I'll buy the last batch of a palette. This palette is still being sold, but it's no longer sold at Sephora, and I got it 50% off because Sephora was discontinuing it from their stock. And I don't regret it at all. I think it's so lovely. I'm especially glad I got it 50% off because even though I feel like Pat McGrath is pretty much the best quality in the game, to be quite honest, I don't agree with the common opinion of her being overrated and overpriced. I think you kind of get what you pay for with her eyeshadows. Even though there are only 10 shadows in here, you really are getting the best quality. That being said, I already have a gigantic collection, so I didn't want to pay $120 something for 10 shadows because I feel like I'm not going to be using this palette every single day. So anyway, this is not even the point of this video. I have not even planned my 2 looks yet. I just decided to film this really quickly. I didn't even know which palette I was using until right before I started recording because I made this list a long time ago. But while I'm thinking of that, I'll use my Ulta Beauty eyeshadow primer. I do kind of have to be a little bit quick with this because in less than an hour I have a physical therapy appointment. But I thought this was because I had an hour of just not really doing anything. And I was going to need to wash this off anyway because, again, 2 different looks on my eyes. But I would have to wash if I did makeup today, which I don't usually when I do physical therapy. If I did makeup today, I was going to have to wash it off anyway because I don't want to go into physical therapy with a bunch of makeup and jewelry on. It just would be very weird and uncomfortable. And I have to wear full workout clothing and shoes anyway. So I thought if I'm gonna wash my makeup off anyway, may as well have 2 different looks on my face. I think I'll start with kind of just a neutral look. Usually when I have a palette that's half neutral, half colorful, I like to do both just to showcase the versatility of the palette. So I think I'll start with a neutral look so that my brushes don't get too dirty before I have to do like a softer look, I'll start with this one. And I'm gonna start by putting this shade all over my right eye. And I'm just using kind of like a fluffy brush. And I feel like these shades are pressed like fairly firmly. You get a lot of product in each pan, so I'm like not afraid to really dig my brush in there, but I mean, it's just a fluffy brush anyway. And that shade is kind of like just to set my eye. Now I'm going to use this brown shade here, which I feel like it's darker than it looks like in the camera. And I'm going to use a dense brush for this one. And again, this is just going to be a very basic look, like nothing revolutionary. You can probably already imagine what this look is going to be before I even do it. There's like a smudge on my mirror on this palette, so I'm just gonna use the one that's like in front of me, like on my vanity. This is a desk. So excuse me if I look extra awkward. I'm trying to make it work here. And I'm just gonna like add a tiny bit more right in my crease just to build it up a bit, and then a little bit more on my right on my outer corner. And then taking this fluffy brush again and just like kind of blending the two. These are the two satin shades in the palette. Again, my lighting is not doing them justice, but then this is the like kind of like purpley iridescent, I'll just point to it. It's this one, and I think I'm gonna use that one just as a topper all over everything, because I just can't help myself. And I just used my NYX glitter primer, but oh my gosh, this is so pretty. I knew it was gonna be really pretty, but I mean, I feel like watching an iridescent transform on your eyelid is just like, it never gets old, really. That is so beautiful, and it was so easy and quick. But now I'm gonna wipe off my brushes and go to the next eye. I don't know. Okay, you know what? I think I'm just gonna do it. I'm going to use the black shade and then this blue on top. So without setting my eyeshadow primer, I'm gonna take this dense brush and just go into this black. And I remember this black being intense, but we'll just have to see. I know Makeup Puzzle loves this black. This is like her favorite black eyeshadow in her collection. Hopefully mine is just as good quality. Okay, yeah, that is very opaque. Let's see how it ends up blending out. I'm kind of just like stamping it on, because even though I don't remember this ever like being patchy or skipping, I'm very worried that that will happen because I don't have a lot of time to like blend and fix things. I kind of gotta go. And also I'm not being careful with this at all, and I don't see any fallout. Yeah, there's no fallout on this eye, and there's absolutely no black eyeshadow under this eye, which is crazy. I don't think that has ever happened before. Even with my Dose of Colors, which was like my favorite black, those shadows are really like, the mattes are very, very powdery. So I'm like holding this brush so awkwardly, but I'm just trying to use this mirror. Yeah, the matte shadows in Dose of Colors palettes are like always super, super like powdery with a lot of kick up, and you will get fallout with your eyeshadow. So like having no fallout with this black that I am not trying to be careful with is just kind of crazy to me. And I'm gonna build it up right here and on my lash line a bit. I don't need to cover my entire eye because I'm not like planning on just having a completely blacked out eye look. And then just taking this fluffy brush and softening the edges as much as possible. It's actually working. This is so crazy. See, like I said in the intro, Pat McGrath truly is like the best quality. Now I'm going to take more of my NYX glitter primer and then use that, oh here it is, use that blue eyeshadow all over my eye. And it is so pretty. Oh my gosh, like I'm not even a fan of blue, and I think it's beautiful. That's how you know it's like just so good. And I really like the contrast between the blue and the black. I feel like they just complement each other so well. It's not even like, I usually like putting I mean, I don't do it too often, but I love putting like a strong like bright metallic on top of black to make it pop more, even if it's not like a black based pigment. because I feel like it just like gives a very dramatic effect. The only thing that I'm having trouble with is getting it like right against my lash line, but I do have a double lash line, so that's probably why. But anyway, back to what I was saying. This one, I feel like they just go well with each other, like they mesh very easily. And so that's the one I just used, and now I'm gonna take this gold on my pinky and just put it on the inner part of my eye and like blend it out. And this is one of my favorite looks to do when I have like a really bold color to put on my lid. Putting a gold on the inner part of my lid, I feel like it just kind of makes it look not as like, it doesn't stand out as much as just being like, you put like, at least for me, I don't look very good in jewel tones. It doesn't complement my skin, at least. I feel like it makes it look a little bit less stark. So that's my favorite way of using these two shades, because these are probably my least like favorite shades in the palette as far as how much I would use them, but using them together, I really love them. For time, I think I'm just gonna do a black eyeliner on my lower lash line instead of like doing shadow on my lash line, because I'm really trying to speed it up here, and I always get nervous putting eyeshadow on my lower lash line because I feel like sometimes little flakes will get into my eyes. So I'm gonna do eyeliner and mascara and then be right back. Here are the final looks, and I'm actually just gonna put a smidge of this shade, which I use like for my skin tone as an inner corner highlight, just in my inner corner on this eye right here. And yeah, that's both looks done. I really just love, like, even though I already knew that this was my favorite quality in the beauty industry, sometimes I forget until I use it again. Sometimes I forget just how far ahead this brand is, like, relative to other brands. Especially, this was her first Mothership, and it's just so good. Like, especially her, like, I feel like a lot of, sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. I think a lot of brands with their special shades have been able to replicate what she, I mean, I don't even know if Pat McGrath is like the creative director of her brand anymore actually, but what she was doing back then, I think a lot of brands have finally been able to like recreate and replicate. But with mattes, I think no one has been able to touch her formula. Like, she just is the best. Like, I should say her brand, the Pat McGrath Labs brand, has the best mattes that I've ever tried, and that's really what makes it worth it for me, because you can't really buy matte singles with this quality. So I'm very happy with the, sorry if you can see the reflection, I'm very happy with the two looks that I got from this palette. Yeah, it is so just, it looks amazing. I used a black liquid liner to kind of fill in the gap. Like, I really could get into the tiny gaps between my lashes with it, so I think that really helped. And then that iridescent is so pretty. Hopefully you saw the two looks on the screen. I'm still trying to figure out iMovie. It's, even though it's free, it's getting on my nerves because it's just not, it doesn't have a lot of features. So yeah, I will just see you in my next video, and until then, I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.